right, today's topic, we're going to be going over two particular terms in regards to gigging and getting live shows. And you'll hear these terms a lot. One is the word following, and one is the word draw. Now, when a band first gets together and they're going out to book shows and get people to come and see them, they think in terms of this term, draw. Oh, we play in this venue over here. People in that area who go to that place already will want to come and see our show because our band is really cool. They'll look at the name, they'll see what we do, and they think, well, that's like a cool band. Let's go to that place because that's a cool bar or club, whatever, to go to. And they'll do that every place they play. Unfortunately, the people who book bands think in terms of following. You'll hear it a lot, you'll hear the term a lot. Well, how many people can you bring into my place on a Tuesday night? They think you can bring people like you've got a bus and you're just going to load up a bus and bring them on over. And also, you'll also get this term of, they think because you drew, say 35 people 3 weeks before, that you can get those same people to come over and see you at their place. They're going to follow you over there. Right. That, unfortunately, this term here doesn't happen a lot anymore. It hasn't happened in a really long time. Even back in the late 80s when I started, this was a difficult concept to get. Very few bands were able to have the same group of people follow them from venue to venue. If they played in one area and then they played over in another area, an hour over, in some other small place, they wouldn't follow them over there and saw them again 2 weeks later. This doesn't happen much, but for some reason, a lot of venue owners want you to do this because they themselves don't know how to get people into their establishment, into their bar, into their club, into their wherever there is. They want you to do all that work. So if you go there on a Saturday night and there's no band playing, there's nobody in the place. They rely on the bands to bring people to their club. They don't have a draw themselves, so they want the band to do that. The thing that bands need to draw upon, you'll use that as a pun intended, is the word draw. Now, what is draw? Well, draw is, let's say you live here in Cincinnati, right? Give myself a little more room here. Let's say you live in Cincinnati, right? And you're having a hard time drawing people to the major city because they're very large venues and you need to draw a lot of people, right? You need to bring a lot of people in there, right? So what you do is you draw a circle around Cincinnati that is a 60-mile drive, or roughly 50 minutes or so drive for people. And you look at all these little towns and maybe even smaller cities around Cincinnati, and these are your target areas. These are where you go and play. And you draw, and when you play here, you're playing these shows, you're promoting heavily in these areas, you're going there 2 to 3 weeks before the show, and you are handing out flyers, you're handing out business cards, you're giving away stickers and saying, come see our show at this particular place. And you do that all around town. Ignore the big city where you live. When you're here, you're giving away stickers, cards, downloads of your music or something for an email address so that you can promote to them. And you do that constantly throughout most of the year. When you've collected enough fans or grown your fan base in the outer area, you then, and you keep track of this, how many people you have, how many likes on your Facebook page you have, how much you promote, how many downloads you've had on your songs, right? So you can go to the larger venue owners here and say, listen, we have a very large fan base in the outer areas. We think we can draw people into the larger venue in the city. You then promote heavily to these people and say, we're putting on a giant show in Cincinnati at this venue, or maybe we're on the bill with another big band. You can also go to them and show them there your numbers. These are all the people we have on our lists. These are all the fans that we have in the outer areas, all within a 60 miles or within a 50-minute drive, right? Just figure in an hour outside of where you live. Then what you do is you promote to these people to draw them in to the large city. But here's the kicker. There are a few things to consider when you're trying to draw these people from the outer areas into the bigger city. You have to consider a few things. And that is within that 60-minute window, do they have to cross any bodies of water? Is it difficult to get into that big area? If they have to cross a bridge or maybe a tunnel, you know, and it costs them money to do so, that's an added cost to their overall evening. So they're going to consider that when they come into the city or they come into the bigger area to see you. You know, is it worth their time and money to come see you? If you've done your homework and you have a really good live show, they'll pay that money to come in and see you because it's a good night out. They take their friends, oh, this band is really cool, really fun. They'll come into the bigger city to see you at this bigger venue. The thing is you can't overdo that particular promotion trick. You basically are playing these outer circle shows all year round, over and over again, picking up your fan base. You do the big show in the big city one time a year. Draw people in. Maybe you can get away with twice a year. Once every 6 months or so. But I would say try to keep it at one time a year. And do one big show in the city. You can draw for these people. That is doable for most people. One night out, they come into the city, but make sure you're also not interfering, like I said, with bridges. You also have to consider the season or the time of year you're doing this. Are people readily available? Do they want to go out at that time of year? If you live in an area where you have a very harsh winter, or it gets very cold or a lot of snow, it's harder to get people to travel that 60-minute window if they have to transverse snow and ice or a possibility of things like that. The summer is also difficult because what time of the year of the summer? What time of the summer or the spring? Later you go into the summer, the more you have people on vacation. They're not available. If you're around a holiday weekend, you also have to consider that. People go away for those 3-day weekends if it's like Thanksgiving or if it's around Christmas. They've also spent a lot of their money for Christmas presents and things like that. They're going on vacation. This is always the factor in getting people to travel that 60 minutes to come see you. Bridges, tunnels, time of the year, but the number one overriding factor for all of this is your show. How good is your stage show? Now that's not about how musically great you are. It's not about that. Nope. Most musicians think it is. What is the most important thing about your show? Will people have a good time? People go out to have a good time. They go out to be entertained. They don't go out to see how well you play the music. People want to go out and have a good time. So your show has to be fun, it has to be interesting, and it has to be something that will draw them to you like moths to a flame. And that's what we'll talk about in the next column of Sound Advice. We will talk about how to put on a great show, and ideas for promotion and ideas for your show in itself, but also how to sell more CDs, more merchandise, more t-shirts. We'll work on the show next time. This is Kevin Richards. Keep rocking, keep practicing, work on your show. See ya.